俺はスケール1の星読みの魔術師とスケール8の時読みの魔術師でペンデュラムスケールをセッティング。これでレベル2からレベル7までのモンスターが同時に召喚可能。揺れろ魂のペンデュラム、天空に描け光の悪、ペンデュラム召喚来い俺のモンスターたち。ホットアイズペンデュラムドラゴン。
What's up guys, Video Box here, and welcome to card discussion number 11, I think. If the number's wrong, I'm sorry, I just don't keep track too often. But anyways, I want to talk today about Odd Eye's Pendulum Dragon. It's a card that's still relatively fresh. I mean, the set just came out not too long ago. And I'll go over the stats really quickly and talk about a few things about this card as a whole. And okay, so it's a Dark Attribute level 7 effect monster. It's clearly a pendulum monster as well. Its monster effect is, if this card battles an opponent's monster, any battle damage this card inflicts is doubled. It has 25 attack and 2000 defense, and it's a scale 4. And its pendulum effect reads, you can reduce the battle damage you take from a battle involving a pendulum monster you control to 0. During your end phase, you can destroy this card, and if you do... Sorry, I lost focus. Add one pendulum monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck to your hand. You can only use each pendulum effect of Odd Eye's Pendulum Dragon once per turn. So outside of reading the word pendulum a million times on this card, the main effect that people care about is obviously the destruction of itself to search out a pendulum monster. But first I want to do a small comparison to Odd Eye's Dragon. I'll give a small spoiler to this card's relevance into this card. In the first episode of Arc 5, the main character starts out with this card, and then when he pendulum summons for the first time using these two cards that appeared in his deck or hand out of freaking nowhere, it becomes this card for the rest of the series. So the effects of Odd Eye's Dragon and Odd Eye's Pendulum are similar, but I guess depending on how you use either effect, it could be a downgrade or upgrade depending on what you use it with. But I'm not going to go too in depth about Odd Eye's Dragon because it's not relevant. But anyways, the effect that people care about, as I said, is that you want to use this card basically to destroy itself in the pendulum zone at the end phase, and then search for a pendulum monster with 1500 attack or less. The two that I could think of easily that I guess people won't really use, but are these two cards, Time Gazer and Stargazer. Outside of Odd Eye's Pendulum Dragon, there isn't a real consistent way to search either of these cards to your hand. You just kind of have to luck into it. But even with, I mean, Pendulums still currently have trouble taking off, only because it's kind of hard to get these cards in your hand, you know, without trying to give up too much advantage. This card helps, but this card helps a lot actually, because if you destroy itself, for pendulum monsters, anytime it gets sent from the field, face up on the field to the graveyard, or if it would go to the graveyard, it goes face up in your extra deck instead. So if you were to destroy this card while it's in a pendulum zone, it would go face up in the extra deck, and then you would do your search. And then if you had another pendulum in your hand the following turn, if the scales work, let's say you have Time Gazer, and Stargazer, if you had that in your pendulum zone, you can summon this from your extra deck and then have fun. That's pretty much the basic idea of how to use Odd Eye's Pendulum Dragon. But I mean, the part that people care most about is the search aspect of the card. Now, there aren't that many good pendulum monsters so far yet to search for, but Odd Eye's Pendulum Dragon, I think, range is currently around the $25–$30 range. So, I mean, I think when more pendulum monsters are released, this card's playability will increase and its value technically could go up, ideally. I mean, basically it's a card for the future. I mean, there's not too much you can do with it now, but I mean, if you do have it when future sets come out, you'll be better off with the card itself. I also want to touch upon the fact that this is the first time I've seen a main character, a Yu-Gi-Oh main character's main card not be easily accessible. I mean, if you look at Dark Magician, that was easy to get. You look at Elemental Hero Neos, it was printed as a common, for God's sakes. And you look at Stardust Dragon, that was easy to get initially. And then you look at Zeal, Utopia was reprinted like a million times. But this is actually the first time a main monster was printed in a rarity, or it was printed in a means where it wasn't easy to get. But I mean, I think over time, as more stuff comes out, I believe a reprint will happen at some point, probably as a super rare or something. Because for some reason, super rare is like the reprint rarity to print stuff in. Or if it's in some kind of like special or deluxe limited edition rarity, it'll probably be like an ultra or something. But anyways, even despite the reprint, I believe the original rarities of these cards will maintain value. I mean, it'll probably go down in the short run, but in the long run, people will still want these as opposed to the reprinted versions. I mean, case in point, you look at Stardust Dragon. You know, it's been reprinted God knows how many times, and you know, the original rarities still maintain most of their value, especially the one I hold in my hand right now. I mean, if you look at its value, it's still pretty up there. I mean, even the regular Ultra first edition still has some value to it, which is more than any other, which is more than like some of the other reprints of Stardust. And if you have an Ultimate first edition Stardust, I just feel sorry for you, because I mean, if you look at Stardust Dragon, it's a pretty ugly dragon to begin with, and if you have the Ultimate rare, you can see that the art is obscured so much more than it really needs to be. It just looks like someone just used a Scotch-Brite and just scratched up the Stardust or something. But you know, I mean, if I were to show you the Ultimate Stardust, my S4 would break in an instant and this video would be over. But thankfully I don't have an Ultimate First Ed Stardust to show you, so you guys are spared. Anyways, where was I going with this? Okay, anyways, right. Reprints. As long as a card is good and it has relevance in a game, like a reprint wouldn't hurt a card too much, you know. Maybe short run it would affect it a little bit, but I mean, people generally always look for the higher or original rarity. So I mean, even if this card gets reprinted like a million times in the future, Secret First, Ultimate First are still going to be rarities that people will want. And I think pendulums are a bit slow to take off. I mean, Exceed monsters weren't exactly quick to take off either. But I mean, as more and more stuff came out, you know, people started using it more. You know, I mean, I believe pendulums, you know, will take off. I mean, they just need something to get it going, and this card goes a long way in actually making it work a little bit better. Because I believe the biggest problem right now is to just get the pendulum monsters into your hand to perform it in the first place. I mean, never mind the actual counters for it, it's just trying to set it up in the first place without losing too much advantage. But yeah, I mean, I suggest if you have this card, hold on to it, try to get it if you can. And yeah, if you feel like I missed anything on this card, or if I talked too much about this card, which I believe I kind of did, I think I wasted like a minute talking about how ugly Ultimate Stardust was, but look at the card, look at someone's card, and you'll see for yourself. But anyways, this is my Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon discussion. Feel free to comment on anything I may have missed. Like, dislike, comment, subscribe for more updates. And until next time, peace out, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, お楽しみは